Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Easter. Hopefully, the Easter Bunny brought everyone some good candy this morning. Welcome into a new edition of Batter Up here on the Sports Insanity Network. Mike, the old ops guy, Danny Boy Reginald. Everyone's here on a beautiful Easter morning. How we all doing? And this,
Alive, well, and it's not 30 degrees, so I'm happy.
dude, it was like 70 yesterday in New York. It was
Yeah, let's T-ball practice
Ooh.
yesterday. It was great weather for it.
It was,
oh,
yeah, I had softball practice for my station softball team.
all right.
Nice.
What position are you
It
playing?
was it was in the 80. So I picked right field, but then they tried me out at first base. So I might be a first baseman. I may not be. I don't know.
Oh, all
The
right.
next Pete Alonso in the making.
Yeah, well, apparently I did very well. So I was like, okay.
All right. There you go. First base.
Never thought I never played first base ever. But
You know what? In Little League, I never played first base either.
yeah.
I was not a first baseman ever.
No, I was left fielder.
My legs were too small. I couldn't make that stretch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Your knees, though, you were able to squat down for 90.
Yeah, I know, right? I did that through the pain too.
Oh man. All right. We've got a lot to cover. We're going to talk some team starts in a little bit. We're also bringing back the top five list that Mark and I started last week. Another topic today should be fun. Um, but let's dive in. I want to start with this. Mark and I live in the New York area. Dan, you were also once a member of the New York. So Juan Soto spoke, I believe it was to the Post earlier this week, talked about kind of what's gone through his head early in the season, and basically said last year he had Aaron Judge behind him, and he talked about how well the good year Judge had. And that made the New York media explode, basically by saying, did he make the wrong decision? Did he do this? Why is he already talking about missing Judge? I'm here to just put a nail through this coffin because I don't think Mark complimenting Aaron Judge is anything based on what's gone on so far this year. Because let's be brutally honest, up until yesterday, the Mets have been playing in nothing but frigid weather. But Juan Soto's numbers still are not that bad as people may want to make it seem.
When the Yankees made that trade for Juan Soto. I mean, no offense, Dan, the Yankees got fleeced. We know that. The biggest mistake to me was not signing him immediately, not working with him to get an extension done before the season was over.
His agent was not gonna allow no.
Understood, but I'm
Scott
just saying
Boras is
that
a
would have been
legend.
the
His agent was not gonna be like contract extension and then he gets shortchanged. No.
but that's not right. We know that's not the case. But that's what I would have done to make any deal
Well,
agree, especially what I'm
of
giving
course
away
you would
for.
want to do that, but given the agent, you knew that was
Yep.
not gonna happen. There's
So
no
what
there's no such
happens?
thing as a contract extension and then getting shortchanged instead of going to free agency and getting more, in which that's what he did. So
Fair enough. You know, so Juan Soto comes over to the Mets. The Yankees last year started off down south. It's been cold. Now the excuses are done. We're now hitting the middle of end of April, coming into May, and the temperatures are gonna be in the 60s and up. So the cold weather issue has stopped. The comment I believe that Mike is focusing on, and then we'll pass it right to Dan because as Dan's going to be able to explain better, is Juan Soto came out and said, I had the best hitter in baseball hitting behind me. So what do you think? No offense, Mets fans, he isn't wrong. I hate
Right.
Aaron Judge for only one reason. He's a New York Yankee. That's it. I happen to think he's one of the most talented hitters in baseball. So I don't think it was a diss at Pete Alonso. I think Pete Alonso didn't give a shit. No offense.
Right.
There's our first left part.
It's a compliment towards Judge.
Right.
Yeah.
So Alonso, mind you, is one of the, if not the number one hitter in baseball right now. And why? Is because they have no choice but to pitch to him, or they have to pitch to Soto. So what does the New York media do? Like anything, New York fans,
They
like
like to
Yankee fans,
create a problem.
right? Like Yankee fans, if you do bad, you're gonna know it. You do great, you're gonna know it. There's a lose win no matter what when you play in New York.
Yeah, the media is the reason.
So that's
why.
what, in my answer, I don't think it was a diss at Pete Alonso. I think if anything, it just raged the fire in his belly a little bit more.
So before I throw it to Dan, I just want to say this. I don't think he meant anything. Like him complimenting Judge means nothing to me. It should mean nothing to anybody. I just wanted to point out the fact that the media
Mm-hmm.
had this explosion with it. But Dan, I'll give you the floor on this one too.
Yeah, the baseball writers and the talking heads are making it out to be more than what it is.
Yes.
I have no problem with what Juan Soto said because he's right.
Yeah.
He's 100% right. He did have that protection with Aaron Judge behind him. So, of course, they're going to pitch him differently when he signed that big ass deal and stuff. Like, that's expected to happen. Does that mean that his poor play he's gonna get away with that excuse with his poor play? No, like you have to play well. You have to play like a $700 to $800 million baseball player, right? That's what you're being paid. So you have to play like that. And he's been better of late. And I'm sorry. Based on his current stats, if that's struggling, I would take
Right?
that in
Thank
a
you.
heartbeat. If that's struggling from Juan Soto, I would take that in a heartbeat. Yeah, no, it's not a diss at Pete Alonso. It's a comp. I guess it's a compliment to Judge, but it's not a diss at Pete Alonso. This is just the media making it out to be more than what it is.
Yeah,
He's telling the truth about this situation. The fact of the matter is that, yes, he had the best hitter in baseball right behind him. So he was pitched differently. And it's okay to say that. And, okay, he lucked out. He had a great season. It's different. That doesn't mean that him playing poorly isn't bad. No, it's terrible. But it's the reality of the situation. And it's something that he has to adjust to. It may take him a month to adjust it. Okay. Now, if it's July and he still hasn't adjusted, that's a problem.
Then there's a problem. Yes.
I wouldn't worry too much about it. I'm not worried about it. I'm really stressing this because he'll find his way eventually. Okay, he's probably not going to hit over 300, have like 90 home runs, right? But if he gives you 280, gives you 30, maybe like 90 RBI, come on now. It's not what you paid for, but it's exactly what you're getting. It's the ball player that you're getting.
Right. And for them to pitch around him and want to pitch to Pete Alonso, that's just a statement saying, we know anything we throw you, you're going to put into play, and we don't want that. So we'd rather pitch around you and take our chances with Alonso. But with Alonso as locked in as he is right now, the question becomes, Are the Mets aren't changing this lineup? Are pitchers going to start pitching different? That's where the fifth batter becomes the most important factor.
And then there's two different things I want to point out. Things are going to change once Francisco Lindor also gets hot, which he looks like he's starting to come around. And two, as much as people want to complain about Soto or complain about somebody, I know it's April 20th, but right now, the first place team in the National League East are the New York Metropolitans. So everyone simmer down.
Why? I'm
On to
allowed to
the-
boil. I'm a Mets fan. I don't have to simmer down.
I don't know,
I'm
man. You're
boiling,
talking
baby.
more about the media people.
Oh, okay.
Now on to that other team in town. I want to point this out because I actually think this is actually pretty funny that this happened. Jazz Chisholm the other night, I think, got called out on strikes.
It was a horrible call.
Horrible call.
It was a horrible call.
It was horrible.
Gets ejected, goes into the clubhouse, and immediately tweets out how bad the call was.
Yeah,
He's now suspended a game. According to Aaron Boone, he's appealing, so he played yesterday.
So he's gonna be playing until they get a ruling, and then
which is gonna take a month and a half.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Look, we all know the rule when you're on the field. You can't argue pitches and strikes with the umpire. That's why they're tried out in minor league. The pitch replay. I don't know how soon that'll be implemented into MLB.
Hopefully next season. I mean, they have the tech. They had all these professional sports leagues have the technology for it. Like,
right.
Use it. They use it in tennis. Use it.
So, we have that's going to try to help batters out. But in my mind, he went off the field like he was supposed to. He was ejected. He went down into the clubhouse, didn't talk to a reporter, didn't go live. He just tweeted it. Yeah. I'm sorry, if you're going to take social media away from these guys, come on. You suspend him a game because he holds his tongue and lashes out not at you, but on social media.
Yeah, I mean, is it a bit much to suspend him? Yeah, but it's a policy that they have, and by the policy, at first glance, it's the right move. I just think it's dumb. I just think it's.
I thought it was absolutely ridiculous.
Like, yeah, who cares? Like,
is the policy based off of the using of the electronic because of what happened with the Astros, or is it based on social? Just based.
Well, it can't be based off the electronic because he was already out of the game. So if he's out of the game,
but the game is still going
solitaire
on.
if he wanted
to. It's. I guess the violation has something to do with him making a post about. It's dumb. It's the dumbest thing in the world. Like, who cares what these players? Excuse me. What these players say on socials? Who cares? It doesn't. It's not going to affect you. It's not going to affect the umpire. Like, I don't know.
Show me one player last year or over the last 4 years who hasn't made a complaint to get on Angel Hernandez on social media.
I'm so happy you said Angel Hernandez because if you did, that was going.
Maybe it was the conduct. Maybe it was the language he used.
Either that or they're trying to set a precedent. You do this, this is what's going to happen. Hopefully, they're trying to do that to deter it, but I don't think this is needed. The players need to be able to voice their opinions and not just gripe to their manager.
Yeah,
but they have to be able to gripe and let it out.
Yeah, and by the way, when are the umpires going to face the media and go through these calls? Like, we have to hold these officials accountable. Because it didn't matter. The Yankees won the game, but what if it does impact a game? Um, what if there could have been a situation where, a player gets tied up like that and it was a tie game, you have runners on, and that completely changes the dynamic. Like you have to me, the umpires have to answer for that. And it's not a bad thing to hold them accountable in the media. Okay, they may face more public scrutiny, but you have to hold them accountable at some point. And I don't know what baseball is waiting for with all this technology they have. Like, why not have the challenge ball and strike? Like,
And apparently it's doing great in the minor leagues
yeah,
and spring training this year.
Hey, we saw it work.
Yeah.
The only thing is the time. Now, if you bring it to MLB and every player per at bat does it, all the time you use to learn to try to save time in baseball is now going to be added back. So they're going to have to figure out some way not to have it increase to the length of a game.
Maybe if you go one per player in the lineup.
And for the entire game, meaning they only get one shot.
Well, kind of like the challenge. If you're right, you'll get a second one.
Okay.
But you got to think
This
of
is
when
definitely
you'll
something
use.
that'll be on our topic for
yeah.
postseason.
I think the ball and strike challenges should be different than the other challenges.
This is something
I
definitely
think
we're
you
going to
get
talk a lot about.
you should get two challenges for whatever other play on the field, and then balls and strike challenges should be unlimited because we have to get the call right. There should be no reason why balls and strikes can't get it right with all the technology. But they're not going to do that. They're going to treat it like a stupid challenge, and then we're not going to be able to challenge it again. You know?
Right.
Oh, yeah, they're not going to do it right, but just with the man fraud charge.
But I do like how it worked in spring training.
Yes.
I think it worked very well in spring training. So it's definitely something we'll see in upcoming seasons.
Yeah, but you're right. They're gonna have to figure out how they're gonna set it up. Because I think in spring training it was what, two per team, and if you got it right, you got a third.
Something like that. I don't remember the exact rules, but it was
Yeah.
something like that.
They,
Yeah.
they have to change it to unlimited. Because
But only once per at bat.
Okay, if you want to
Or
go
maybe
once,
limit
once per at
the
bat,
amount
that's
of
fine.
innings. Yeah.
Right. Because if they want to sit here and challenge every call, that's going to be a problem.
Okay, fine. So then that's a good compromise. But what I'm saying is that they should be able to challenge in every at bat that they have.
But once only.
That's fine. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Okay, so MLB, we know you're listening. We know you're not a sponsor as well, but please, Rob Manfred, at least listen to Reason for once.
Yeah.
Rob, if you're listening, and I know that you are, come on the show. We'll talk.
We'd love to have
words.
a talk with you. We have a
words.
guy who loves you, Bill Murphy. He'll be ready to go for you.
He's not invited to the chats. All right. Moving on. So last night, an American hero, Mike Trout, homered twice. It's from Buster Olney. He's at 386 for his career. He needs 30 more RBIs for 1,000 in his career and 11 more walks for 1,000. He's got an 86.1 career WAR and will soon pass Bob Gibson, George Brett, Wade Boggs, and Al Kaline. Man, it's good to have Mike Trout healthy.
Look at that list of names. Can you just say it one more time?
Bob Gibson, George Brett, Wade Boggs. Was Wade Boggs the one who rode a horse after a Yankee World Series?
I know he drank like 44 beers on a flight from New York to California.
And Al Kaline. So
Look at those names. Now, these guys know who all these players are, but a lot of you might not know. Bob Gibson, Al Kaline, George Brett. These guys changed baseball. George Brett showed how you could throw a Gatorade bucket towards somewhere. Bob Gibson did it all. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's still got years left. He's going to be challenging records. If Mike Trout is now 100% healthy, and we're going to see the old Mike Trout, will he be the next to pass on the home run list? To be the lead of home runs? There's a lot to go, but if he's back, it's not unattainable for him.
Yeah, so we'll keep our eye on Mike Trout and the Angels 500 through 20 games, which got me thinking. I know it's still early, but I think we have an idea of what some of these teams in Major League Baseball are through 20 games. So we're going to play a little game of buy or sell. I'm going to give you a team. You're going to tell me if you would invest in this team right now or if you would not invest in this team right now based on their start, et cetera, et cetera. And basically it means how you see them going the rest of the year. So I'm going to start in the American League. I'm going to start in the American League East. Mark, the Boston Red Sox. Are you investing or are you selling the Red Sox?
I'm investing. I've always hated the Red Sox, but as a baseball fan, you look at what this team is comprised of. There is a lot of talent on this team. It's gotten off to a little shaky start, but watch out. They're not done.
12 and 10 to start. Dan, because you're in the area, the Baltimore Orioles.
I would invest. They have some time, but it's ticking fast. They're in a tough division, and right now they're iffy against baseball. But invest. They have the good ball players.
Okay. You had two invests, one in the Red Sox, one in the Orioles. To the Central, Dan, I'll start with you. The Kansas City Royals are 8 and 14. Are you buying what they may turn this around, or no? Is this a lost year?
Bye.
Oh, okay. All right, Mark. You know what? I believe in the top two too much, so I'll throw you the Twins.
Brooks Lee has come out and had a great start. I just don't know if I could keep with the Twins that long. I would not invest right now.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Mark, I'll stick with you because we'll go to the AL West.
Aha.
The Houston Astros are 10 and 10.
It's time to say goodbye. Selling.
Oh, okay. You want to go deeper on
The
why?
reason why is the players are getting older. You have an Oompa Loompa in left field, and your most consistent hitter is the one person we all knew would have a good year, and that's Yordani Alvarez. So I don't see a lot coming from too much others. Bregman's gone. Verlander's gone. It's time to start rebuild.
Okay. All right, Dan, I'll throw you the Angels.
I am selling. They just got off a losing skid, and it's not. I don't know if it's going to get any better with this ball club. Time and time again, management has made some horrible decisions about the team, never keeping anyone consistent there. You don't keep your best player in Shohei Ohtani. And at some point, the Angels have a lot to explain about where the direction is going. Bad signings, bad decisions, not going after the best player in baseball. Like, at some point, something has to be said for that. So I'm selling.
All right. Should be noted to your point, they're 3-7 in their last 10. They've got a -10 run differential.
Horrible.
All right. Mark, we'll go to the NL East. Actually, I'm going to throw this one
Give
to
me the
both.
Mets because I'm going to answer honestly.
No, I'm going to throw this one to both of you.
Okay.
The Atlanta Braves.
I knew it. You know, it's with as much as hate as I have for the Braves, I have to put that aside. The thing is, the Braves are never out of it yet. Are not out of it yet. It's still early in the season. But with the decline, with showing that you cannot replicate without Ronald Acuna, you're missing major players. I'm selling this team, and I'm selling it back to the Indian reservation they came from.
Wow. Okay.
Them and their tomahawk chop.
Yeah, I'm out. Like, if no one stays healthy, then this ball club is not good. And they have tried to find ways to make stuff work, and it's not working.
Okay. I'm looking at the records and everything on ESPN, the app. They're 2-11 on the road.
Like, that's brutal.
I mean, I know they just got back Strider the other day.
And he pitched well.
Yes, he did. I mean, that's one guy every 5 days.
Oh yeah.
That's not going to turn you into a 80-win team.
Well, I mean the guy you got to look at right now is Chris Sale. He has not had the same year he did a year ago.
Look, nothing against Chris Sale. I thought he was one of the best pitchers I got to see pitch in live game. It's time to just be told it's time to leave it behind. It's all the time we're told you can no longer play the game. I went through it. We all do.
Yeah, well, he had a great year last year, so.
Yeah, I'm not taking that away from him. You sure did.
All right, on to the NL Central. Mark, are you a believer in the Chicago Cubs at 14-9? All right, Dad,
Yeah.
I'll go to you. He's all choked up.
No, I'm buying.
I'm buying the Cubs.
I'm buying. It's not shocking the Cubs are doing this well. They have good players on their squad. They got good hitters. Pitching is okay. It's getting them by. Like, I'm buying. I'm in.
The Chicago Cubs are scoring, and they're scoring by not just one person. It's contributing amongst the entire line, and hats off to Seiya Suzuki. I mean, what a start to the season for him. I am fully invested in the Chicago Cubs. I don't think this team is going anywhere but up. And, you know, bless you.
Thank you. I thought I got rid of it, but no. Don't forget Kyle Tucker's off to a phenomenal
Yes, I'm sorry.
too.
And of course,
Yes.
that's not shocking either. Like,
No, he's another one. He gonna cash in.
Let me tell you, that park was made for him in the way his back can go. Because he can go opposite, pull, or straight away.
Yeah.
And he's hit home runs that far, so it's not that problem.
All right, Mark. The Cincinnati Reds are 10-11. You buying them or you selling them?
The team is there. And I'm not giving up on this young team. So I'm still investing. I'm buying.
Okay.
we're 2 weeks into the season, and there's a lot of stars on that team. Once that team fully gets going, they're going to be too dangerous.
NL West. Is anyone buying the Rockies at 3-16? Anyone? Anyone want to take a chance?
Bueller.
Chris Bryant went on the injured list again
Oh, when?
Poor guy.
earlier this week.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
retire,
It has
Chris.
not been the same since he left Chicago.
He is not.
No,
No.
retire, Chris. Come on.
But speaking of Chicago, or speaking of Chris Bryant, another one of his former teams, it's the San Francisco Giants at 14-7. We buying
The
or
biggest
selling
shocking
this?
opening. Sorry, Dan.
I'm buying the Giants.
Okay.
They'll compete against. They definitely can compete against the Padres and the Dodgers. I'm not sure if they'll catch one of them. I don't know if they'll catch both, but that is a very good team in the Giants. They have great pitching, great young hitting, and the composure is fantastic from this team, man. This team is very well managed to start out the gate.
You got 4 teams in this division within 3 games of each other.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a fun run.
It's the best division in baseball.
The Padres are 12-1 at home. The Dodgers are 10-2 at home. And then the Giants are 10-5 on the road. It's impressive.
It is.
It's impressive. All right. Eventually, we will probably revisit this as we head into the summer months. But that was a little bit of buy or sell. All right. Last week, Dan, I know you were not here, but Mark and I debuted a new segment.
Okay.
I called it the top 5 list. And what I want from anybody or here, we're going to go through everything and we're just going to pick 5 moments or whatever. Just a list of 5 things. Last week, Mark and I did our favorite players to never play for our favorite team.
Okay.
This week, I wanted to go a little historical. Felt pretty good. So I want the top 5 moments in baseball history. So, Mark, what you can go back to when Abner Doubleday founded baseball. The top 5 moments in baseball history that you wish you were in the ballpark for.
Okay. Since Mike, you have been leading the discussion, why don't we lead off with you? What is your number 1 for once?
Don Larson.
And then your number 5. You're doing 5-1, whatever. Doesn't
Go
matter.
5-1.
Okay.
All right. Number 5 for me. And this is so hard because he's my favorite. I said last week, he's my favorite player of all time who never played for the Mets. But when Albert Pujols hit 3 homers in the World Series against the Texas Rangers.
They're still going, too.
Oh, my. They're all probably still going. It's just, for the best player in baseball to have that moment on the biggest stage, there's something special about it. So that I'm putting at number 5. Albert Pujols 3-homer game in Texas in the World Series.
Okay. Dan, you want to go next?
Number 5 for me. I would love to have been in the ballpark when Mark McGwire broke Maris's single season home run record.
I was doing a history paper when that happened.
I would love to have been in a ballpark doing that, just to witness that. Now, of course, that record has since been obliterated by McGuire, Sosa, and of course Barry Bonds. But you know,
For me, number five. Now I'm going to throw a little old school into it. The shot heard round the world. Bobby
okay.
Thompson home runs.
I thought you were at the ballpark for that one.
No, I was alive 2 years later. Okay, no, I've watched that play 100 times via ESPN, MLB Network when they do best plays ever. That's just a moment in history. And yes, I know the controversial things about it, but here's a quick trivia question: who was on deck after Bobby Thompson?
Fucking New York Giants.
That is correct.
I would not. I would not know. Sorry.
Was this before Willie?
You're not getting a guess out.
I'm not gonna guess it. I'll throw the random one out there and say Willie Mays.
A young man by the name of William Mays was on deck behind Bobby Thompson.
Look at that.
Thompson hit the shot heard round the world. So, but that is correct. Mike is correct. It was Willie Mays.
It's the
All
only
right,
name
Mike
I thought of.
Mike, number four.
Oh man. All right. Dan is going to hate me for this one.
Uh-oh.
2004 Game 7 of the ALCS, where the Red Sox complete the comeback.
Yeah.
From
That was a tremendous moment, and it was that. I mean, I don't blame you. I don't blame you for one.
Also, because I wanted to see that Johnny Damon beard. That was so epic up close and personal. But I mean, for that moment to happen, and then for them to just, let's be real honest, go rug shot over the Cardinals. Kurt Schilling gets the bloody sock.
Yeah.
That was quite a moment. And no offense to New Yankee Stadium, there was nothing like watching a ball game at the old Yankee Stadium.
Oh, come on. I was one of the people who actually signed the petition not to tear that down. That should have been preserved as a natural wonder, in my opinion. Sorry, speaking truth.
Well, one of my dad's friends has a couple of seats from there in his basement.
And that's hats off to him, because that's a piece of memorabilia I would love to own. And I'm not a Yankee fan.
I would have renovated Yankee Stadium. The old and
when you look at the
landmark, it's hard. I mean, the only reason why is because you look at ballparks like Fenway, you look at ballparks like Wrigley, Dodger Stadium, like those ballparks are going to be there forever because the cities that they're in are going to maintain it because of its classic feature. Like Dodger Stadium is going to be around forever because the Dodgers and the city of Los Angeles continue to invest in it, and they're investing in improvements. A lot of these other cities want to tear down ballparks and build new infrastructure for corporations to make billions off of. And it's not contributing to the actual baseball fan.
When I used to go to Yankee, my boss was very generous when I worked in pharmacy. He had season tickets to the Yankees. He couldn't go all the time, so he used to give tickets out to people who were doing well. And he had great seats, 2 rows off right field, right on the,
Yeah.
But when you walk into that stadium and you come out of the tunnel, the first thing that I see is the ghosts of baseball, the greats. I picture Mickey Mantle at the plate. I'm seeing Bobby Richardson at second. I'm seeing Roger Maris. I'm seeing the ghosts that were there that made that stadium. And the day it got torn down, I actually was upset as a baseball fan.
Crazy. Anyway, the number 4 for me. Moving across town, I would have loved to have seen those bloody Red Sox blow the World Series in '86. Buckner's error. I would have loved to see that live. You know, I mean, what was it that Vince Scully said?
The
That
ball gets
picture
through
says a
Buckner.
million
Here
words.
comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Let's win it.
Well, I was talking about the crowd, like the images afterwards,
Uh,
where he said like a picture's worth a million words or whatever he said.
The actual stadium was vibrating. That's
Yeah,
how loud it got.
yeah, I would have loved to have been in the ballpark to see that. Like, first of all, it's the World Series. Like, that's
yeah.
a major moment in World Series history.
Mhm.
Like, you know, like the Red Sox could have won the World Series in that inning, right? Or it was still tied, right? Forget the score.
No, that was game 6. They would have won.
They would have won.
Yeah, right. I
Yeah,
was at 7.
crazy, crazy.
Number 4 for me is reminiscent of a player who I used to like until I found out what he had done and whatnot. I would have loved to have been at the game where the ball hits Jose Canseco in the head and bounces over the wall. It would have been one of the greatest moments of my life because I love this guy. Because when in '86, him and McGuire, just unbelievable. Then when I heard about all the shit he did, of course I'm going to have my other opinion of him. But when I saw that replay, I only wished I was there to see that one.
Oh, that's just funny one to me.
Yeah, Mike, you're on 3.
I know. You know what? Because I, you know what? I'm gonna go back like you did. I wish I was there for when Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's home run record. Some still consider Hank Aaron to be the all-time home run leader just based on stuff
Yes.
that went on. But to witness that moment and to see people run on the field next to him, like, oh, what a moment. And again, some people still think he's the all-time home run leader. So
Oh, Danny boy.
It's the same with Mike, the number 3. You know, just that not only that, but for because you know me, I support my black brothers and sisters, right? For a
Mhm.
black man to break a white man's home run record, that's special. No one, a lot of people don't bring up the racial aspect of it too. In those times, it was really hard to be a black person in America, and yet he's being celebrated across America for achieving one of the greatest things ever. So yeah, no, I would definitely want to have been in Atlanta watching Hank Aaron break babies from the record.
That would have been something to say. For me, we're going back. We're going back to the Giants. There's only one other play from the San Francisco Giants at the Polo Grounds by a young man yet again named Willie Mays, who made probably the greatest catch at that time. I've seen catches by Griffey and others today that would rival it. No offense. But at the Polo Grounds, if you don't know, center field at the Polo Grounds was like 450. And that's a shot even for back then. I mean, that
Yeah.
even a shot for now. And Mays took off. And Vic Works couldn't believe he caught it. I would have loved to have been a fan watching that.
Yeah. Well, you have to understand the Polo Grounds. If anyone looks at the pictures of the Polo Grounds, it seems very small. It is wide as hell. That is
Yeah.
no joke. That is one of the biggest ballparks I've ever seen in my life. It looks small,
insane.
but
Yeah. Coming to number 2.
Yeah, number 2, game 7 of the 1991 World Series between the Twins and the Braves, Jack Morris, John Smoltz in an epic pitchers duel, eventually won by the Twins. And because the Metrodome always reminds me of the movie Little Big League, which is
One of my favorites.
top 5 baseball movie. I love a good old fashioned pitcher's duel, so that would be my number 2.
Daniel.
This is where it starts to get pretty tricky. Number 2, I would love to have been in the ballpark when Mike Piazza hits the 9/11 home run days after 9/11. I know, Mark, you were there.
Yeah.
That, because you have to understand, New York was going through a very hard time, and I remember, I was a little kid, so of course I'm scared out of my mind about the state of the country, and of course New Yorkers are devastated. Watching that home run was just unbelievable. It lifted me up. I'm not a Met fan. It lifted me up. That was very special to watch. And of course, Mike Piazza is one of my favorite players to ever play a game. I was a catcher for a long time because of him. It would have been very special to have been in that ballpark that night at Shea Stadium.
My number 2 is gonna not one of you would ever think I would have this. In the 1993 World Series, Joe Carter of the Toronto Blue Jays, one of the greats.
That's a great
but
one.
he was aging like Kirk Gibson was during a time. Hits a game-winning home run for the Toronto Blue Jays to win this. I mean, that's a moment I remember watching on TV, but I would love to have been there to watch that up close and personal. The amount of electricity that came out after that was unreal.
And up until the Raptors won in 2019, that was the last Canadian champion in the 4 major sports.
That's correct.
Isn't that wild to think about that?
Yeah.
And you would think hockey would definitely have
Yeah.
an advantage since they
Crazy.
skate on it all year up there.
They've had their chances. They just haven't won it.
Yeah.
They won't win it again this year.
All right. The moment we all have been waiting for, the number ones.
Don Larson's perfect game in the World Series.
That's a great one.
Very, very good one.
That's a great one.
Think of those Yankee teams and the stars you get to watch, and Don Larson throws a perfect game in the World Series. Regular season, it's cool enough, but in the World Series, man, that'd be a fun moment to be a part of.
The very first game ever played by Jackie Robinson, Major League Baseball.
I would have loved to have been there for that one too. However, believe it or not, my final one is a Yankee as well.
Okay.
Roger Maris breaking Babe Ruth's 60 home run record.
Yeah.
If you've never seen the movie 61, sit and watch it. It is
It's
one of the
great
greatest baseball
film.
movies I've ever watched.
It's a
But
great film.
I would have loved to have seen him do it.
Yeah. Now, of course, at the time that there was he had to hit it within 154 games in order for it to be the actual record. There was a lot of bias with Ruth and the amount of games played and everything. So at the time when he hit 61, it was not the record. It was the record with an asterisk on it. Until, of course, Major League Baseball years later was like,
Made it right.
no, this isn't right. No,
There's
it's
always
the record.
asterisks next to everything.
So there's no asterisk towards that or any of the other records out there. Barry Bonds, by the way, still holds the true home run record, and I don't want to hear anything about Judge and anything. No. Barry Bonds, okay.
Listen, I don't disagree with you. I just said it because other people have said they view Hank Aaron as, I'm not going to get into this why.
Barry Bonds.
No, and I respect Dan's answer
No, I
because
do too.
there was no rule in place. I respect Dan's answer, but what happened afterward might have changed my mind. But I don't know if
Listen,
anyone will hit 70. I honestly don't think anyone will.
I do believe that Major League Baseball needs to acknowledge what the steroid era was.
Yes.
Because of this, they were so ready to put Bud Selig in the Hall of Fame. And he's got a guy who oversaw baseball throughout the whole thing. So if you're putting him in, then the players deserve to be in. Whether they took it, didn't take it, I don't care. But we can't act like the late 90s and early 2000s did not occur.
And you're
If
right.
that was the case, I'd be much younger.
Me saying you're right is really like gutting me a little bit because I don't like it when you're right. I have come out and I have spoken my ways about the steroid era, and I will not say that I did say that none of these guys should come in. And mind you, most of them are all players I grew up love watching.
Yeah.
With Mike's statement saying they need to acknowledge it. By acknowledging it, that will make the players more of a chance to get in. Give them one more shot if you acknowledge it. You don't want to acknowledge it and you want to let it go. Do what you want. These players know what they did. It's time to just make things right. But the first thing that has to be done is Pete Rose. Then they can go in.
Well, again, that's a whole nother
I know, but I'm
can
sorry.
of worms. And we did go over that at one point a couple of weeks ago. So, all right. On to our series for the week to discuss. Dan, we got a rematch of the ALCS where your Yankees go to Cleveland and play the Guardians.
Look, one thing I learned about the Yankees so far this season, there's a lot of ups and a lot of downs. They snapped their 5-game winning streak yesterday because they blew massively to the Rays. So of course that's never a good thing. Yeah, no, look, the Cleveland's always going to be in it no matter what. They're always going to be everybody on everybody's tail. So I'll expect Cleveland to actually play some good ball. But the Yankees got to continue doing what they did during that 5-game winning streak and good pitching, good hitting, and you know stay status quo for a little bit.
I don't believe Fried's going to pitch in the series because I think he pitches today.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. So, see what happens there. Mark, rematch of the NLDS, which saw the New York Mets win in 4 games. They welcome rival Philadelphia Phillies to town.
This is the series of the weekend, right here. This is it. You want to know who's going to be the dominant factor? This was going to determine it because whoever loses is going to do their best to try to one up, and everybody knows when you try to overcompensate, you screw up more. The Mets have to just go out and play the way they've been playing and be consistent. Do you have the pitching matchups?
I will grab them.
Okay.
Give me a second.
Because that's really what going to tell. I mean, Kodai Senga pitched yesterday, had a great game yesterday. So we won't see Senga pitched to the Phillies this run. I do not believe. I think they will miss him. But these pitching matchups are going to be very important. I know Tejon Walker just went. Sorry.
So the Monday matchup will be Tyler McGill against Aaron Nola.
Oh, God.
I'll tell you this, Aaron Nola 0-4 with a 6.65 so far.
And that bothers me. There's something not right there.
Yeah. So that's Monday. Tuesday will be Griffin Canning against Christopher Sanchez.
There's an even pitcher matchup. Okay.
And then Wednesday afternoon will be David Peterson against Zach Wheeler.
Wow. So the Mets are getting
They're
you're getting a
Wheeler
weakened
and
Aaron
Nola.
Nola, a weakened Aaron Nola, but yet they still got to go up against one of their own in a guy who's had just great couple seasons of Zach Wheeler. I would like to see the Mets take 2 out of 3 on this one. I think the Wheeler game is going to be a very hard win for them.
That's what it was in the playoffs. Like, as soon as Wheeler came out, they got the bats rolling a little bit. So we'll see what happens there. We also have the Padres and the Tigers in a rematch, I think, of the 84 World Series. If I'm wrong, someone in the comments will make sure.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Go on.
Padres offense, man, led by Fernando Tatis and Machado. So, and the Tigers, about the year Spencer Torkelson's had so far, Mark. You nailed that one.
Yeah, from watching this kid come up and watching how he played, I knew he's going to be a star, and I see him staying with the Tigers even when his contract is up. He said he wants to be with one team, and I think he's loving Tiger Stadium right now.
We also got the Mariners in Boston. They'll play the Red Sox. The Blue Jays go to Houston, play the Astros. We talked about the Astros earlier. Really like how the Blue Jays have kind of turned it around. Suffered a tough loss yesterday, but Vladdy finally got off the schneid, thankfully, for my fantasy team.
Yeah.
And the Brewers will take And the Brewers will take on the Giants in a matchup of a couple of teams in the National League looking to contend. So those are your series for the week to look forward to. Yeah. Were you going to say something, Dan?
No. Just
Okay.
tough matchups.
All right. That'll do it for this edition of the Batter Up podcast, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood. Mark, anything on the Dugout?
No, please check out Top Notch Sports Club, eBay page. A lot of the wrestling cards that are there are now up and cooking because last night, I'm glad I pulled Jay Urso, and I am begging to the gods who I'd never begged to for wrestling. Please let John Cena win. I need that card to be like $2,000.
Yeah, WrestleMania night 2 tonight. Can't wait. So the Dugout. Check out the website, thesportsinsanitynetwork.com for great blogs, vlogs, planes, trains, and automobiles. Also, a note on the YouTube page where you're watching this. Thursday night, first round NFL draft. We will be live covering the first round. So if you want to hop in, watch, listen, tell us how beautiful we look. It is what it is.
And for any of you who want to join, the Dugout of Millwood is going to put up a $20 prize. Whoever gets the most picks correct will go home with $20.
Ooh.
Make it a little fun.
We'll make it rain at the club. All right.
You know what's going to happen? One trade is going to screw all us off.
Yeah, one trade's going to screw everything.
Yeah.
All right. Follow us on the socials. Twitter, the Sports Insanity Network, Facebook, Twitter, S Insanity Real, Facebook, the Sports Insanity Network. Twitter, Facebook, all social media is turning into one. All right. The old house guy for Danny Boy. I'm Mike. We'll talk to y'all soon. And thank you for listening to this edition of the Batter Up Podcast, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood. Have a happy Easter.
And if you got some weed in your Easter basket, enjoy that too.
I didn't see that coming at all. That is going on an SIN all-time statement. That is now sealed in like Elizabeth, what Queen Elizabeth and Margaret Thatcher. That is a moment in
And here's
time.
the thing: I'm not a smoker, but people.
Right, but that's why it's a moment.
Happy 420.
Bye bye.